Hi everyone, I'm Jackie Davis, and I'm using this video presentation to show you a small sample of a teaching demonstration that I really wish I could be presenting in a face-to-face setting. However, with the impact of COVID, I am happy to be sharing this with you through the use of technology. As you can see behind me, I'm recording this lesson from the comfort of my very small campus apartment, since we still don't have access to our offices or classrooms here in Colorado. In a face-to-face teaching demonstration, I would spend a couple of minutes introducing myself to the students in the class. However, in this format, I'm not going to spend my limited time with this, as we'll be spending a little bit of time together next week during my interview. Additionally, you all have my application materials where you can read about my background information. In the lesson that I'm presenting today, I will be addressing the following standard from the Florida Educator Accomplished Practices, 1A. which deals with aligning instruction to standards. This FEAP emphasizes the importance of understanding the content standards at each grade level in order to develop lessons that are appropriate in level and rigor. Additionally, I have listed the mathematics context standard that will be introduced during this lesson, as well as one standard for each integrated content area of music, dance, and visual arts. While there are a number of standards in each area that could be addressed in actual lesson planning, the students will have the opportunity to explore and use those standards in their related assignment for this lesson. To begin this lesson, I would open with a simple hand movement activity such as this one. I would make eye contact, smile, looking at them expectantly, hoping that they would join in organically. If that didn't happen automatically, they might need a little bit of prompting so they could join me. This is certainly something we do in early childhood and elementary to gain children's attentions and for other purposes. After a brief time, I would stop and ask what type of pattern that I was presenting. The responses from the students would let me know whether I needed to review patterns or if they were ready to move forward. It's important for children to understand patterns for several reasons. Patterns are everywhere. They help children make sense of the world and prepare them for future learning in many content areas. Patterns help provide children with a sense of order. This is one reason that children seem to enjoy working with patterns, as they like and need consistency and routines. Patterns provide this. Patterns also help children to see relationships across all areas of content learning as well as real-world situations. Patterns help children to make predictions as their cognitive abilities grow. Helps them to develop critical thinking skills and understand logical connections. Additionally, understanding patterns helps children to prepare for learning more complex number concepts and mathematical operations that will continue throughout their academic learning and beyond. This next slide shows some ways that we typically see patterns presented in lessons. Initially, with very young children, we use concrete examples with materials such as linking cubes, counting bears, pattern blocks, and other manipulatives. We start with basic single attribute patterns using two alternating colors to teach a very basic A-B pattern. As children grow, we begin to incorporate additional attributes such as size, shape, and varying objects. Next, we move on to more complex and abstract representation of patterns by asking children to produce patterns using paper. We also expand the complexity of patterns by incorporating more varying attributes. At this point in the lesson, I would let the students come to a table and select materials that I've presented, including pattern blocks, construction paper, scissors, glue, crayons, markers, paper, and other items to create some sort of an A-B pattern, such as the one I've presented here. After the students have had a chance to construct their own A-B patterns and have a chance to share with a partner or the class, I would show the following video clip. While this video clip is almost 2 minutes in length, I'm only going to show you a brief portion of the clip to give you an idea of what's presented. So in class, after we would have watched the entire clip, I would ask the students if they were able to see or hear any A-B patterns in the video. I would likely show a portion of maybe this little bit of the video clip again after they've had a chance to recognize the objective. Next, I would move on to present another type of art that could be used to teach patterns. I think I'm going to have to take this there. By showing students pictures of or real items of different types of visual arts, we can provide children with both types of examples, real examples and non-examples of patterns. In the first picture of vases from the 19th century China, you can see a very distinct A-B pattern. While in the second picture of an 1887 painting by Bernard titled Vases with Flowers and Cup. With the video and the pictures that are shown, we've provided real-world examples of classical art, music, and dance without extending our teaching time in mathematics at all. I need to watch the time. In other parts of the school day, we can elaborate on whichever type of art that we've selected to be studied, whether it be history, culture, or any number of other content areas like reading, writing, science across the 3 areas of music, visual arts, and dance. In each of these areas, we can cover a wide array of topics such as genre, composers like Tchaikovsky, history such as realism, and dance styles such as ballet. When integrating the arts into curriculum with young children, especially in areas where high populations of low socioeconomic families are present, I would encourage teacher candidates to use examples from the classical arts. These are often areas where children have very limited exposure to the classical arts. I would then present options that teachers would have for assessment of the content covered, which was patterns. The first option would be to provide children with the opportunity to recognize, replicate, and construct patterns based on a single content area approach. It might look something like this. While the pattern examples from math curriculums that I shared earlier, and this one as well, are certainly grounded in evidence-based practices by using manipulatives, I think that when we try and incorporate art or dance or music or physical education into our content area, our academic content area lessons, it provides such rich opportunities for so much more learning and growth. The next option would be for students to create a pattern with music, dance, or art. In this option, they would continue learning in the area of arts by exploring different types of art in addition to the mathematical concept of patterns, by creating an A-B pattern using music, art, or dance. Children would be allowed to present their pattern in a variety of formats, which would also allow for the principles of universal design for learning. So in integrating art into a math lesson, such as patterns, the children are exploring different genres of art, music, dance, different artists, songs, styles, and that, while still working with patterns, is such an enriching experience. So to conclude the lesson, I would engage the students in discussion about the level of engagement when incorporating the arts in content area lessons, and discuss the standards that could be covered when incorporating arts in academic areas. They would certainly be provided with opportunities to dig deeper into the standards, the standards that cover art, dance, music for this particular lesson, so that they could become much more familiar. In a time where school budgets are being cut, we know that oftentimes the arts and music, computer, PE are often the first to get shortened or cut altogether. And so I think it's very, very important for teachers to be really familiar with those standards so that they can easily incorporate them into their practice. So I'm very, very grateful for this class in the program. So for the assessment piece of the lesson, the teacher candidates would have the opportunity to create a lesson plan that incorporates the arts or physical education. If they're in a practicum placement or setting, they could also be observed delivering such a lesson, and that would be very exciting for me. So while I know that this lesson is very short and lacking because of the absence of classroom and students and the opportunity to engage, I hope that you're able to see the type of lesson that I would provide in a face-to-face setting. Please contact me even before the interview if you have any questions or would like for me to elaborate on any aspect of this lesson. Thank you very much.